Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? Well, last but not least, on Easter Day, 2024. Hope everybody's having a great Easter out there. But anyway, last but not least, Easter Day, here we go. The big ones. The big ones I've used over the last couple of years. And that I've really enjoyed. And some of these now are ones I've decided I like a lot better than others because I don't know if different things have to do with the size or the shape of the knife itself. And I decided that it's not my favorite wood crafting type knife or what have you. And we're going to go through them. What do you guys want to start off with? You want to start with this one? Kukri. This is my Kukri. This is my only Kukri. Or should I say fixed blade Kukri, because I do have the cold steel, the Raja series knives. But those are folders. This is my only fixed blade Kukri. This was made in the United States. Ontario Knife Company. And it has been used for wood crafting. Done videos with it. And it wasn't my favorite. Super thick blade stock. This is a super heavy knife. This is not one that I want to carry in the wild or out in the field. It's just too big and bulky and heavy. It would have to be a backpack knife. It wouldn't be something I would carry on my person other than like being in a backpack. It's very heavy. The sheath, I don't really care for the sheath either. Kind of, it serves its purpose. If it's being a backpack knife, it's perfectly fine. I love the way the handle feels. I love the Ontario handles. I'm not sure if they're making these anymore because I know Ontario, sold to another company. That's another American company, so I'm not sure if they're going to continue making the American knives. This one's a 1095 HC. Ontario knife, USA. And it's their Kukri. Absolutely love this knife. All my Ontario knives are right around $50, people. I can't remember exactly how much this one was, but I know it was right around $50. They weren't expensive. And that's the reason why I tried them out, because I was trying out big budget knives for the field, for camp duties. And when I did this series of videos, and I absolutely love these. Now this is the Bolo. This to me is like the one that's the best for splitting wood out of all of my knives. This one is like, it's basically I don't know. You call it a machete axe. I don't know what the proper title would be for it, but look how thick that is. Let me see. Let me show you how thick it is, people. Where's my... This thing is thick. The Bolo. If I'm not mistaken, the Bolo is a Filipino-style machete. 6.48 millimeters. This thing is thick. And it's a nice flat ground, wide flat ground. With the flat ground, it's a saber flat ground blade. But look at the wedge on that edge. So you can see why, and this thing is super heavy, people. This is super heavy. This is another knife that you're not going to carry on in person. It's a backpack knife. But this is the knife, this is made out of, it's not, I want to say it's like 52-100 or something like that, or 5160. Spring steel. It's not 1095. It's a little bit, it's a tougher, still it's known to be a little bit tougher than 1095. And this one is made to be hammered on. Look at that. This is an awesome knife for splitting wood. It's one of my favorites. But it's not one that you're going to want to carry. At least I wouldn't want to carry this on my body. You know, this knife weighs a couple of pounds, if not more. It weighs a lot. It makes your wrist sore just from holding it. Feels like you're holding an axe. This is a tank. This is a real tank of a knife. And these blade tangs go all the way through the handle back to here. So it's not really like a rat tail because it maintains its thickness. I've seen these broken and taken apart before, and the thickness of this blade tang goes all the way back to here, back to where this ring is, and then it's just covered, just so like cold steel does. So this is a very strong knife. It's not a weak knife. But the blade tang is pretty much like this thickness all the way back. So it's awesome knife. The Bolo, the SP53 people, SP53, the Bolo, the OKC Bolo. That's the old OKC Bolo, USA made. Highly recommend this one for for like seriously heavy duty chopping sword sport knife. It's not a knife that you're going to want to carry though, people. It's not a knife that you'd want to carry because it adds a lot of weight. Even if you were carrying a backpack, it adds a lot of weight. Let's save this one for this one. This one's next. And this is the Raider Bowie. The Raider Bowie, the OKC Raider Bowie. SP10. And it's another thick, super heavy duty blade. This is the only Bowie knife that I've ever used for wood crafting. And it actually did pretty good. But again, it's not so great on your batons up here in the front. It's not because it's sharpened. It's fairly flat, but it still tears up the batons. So it's not my favorite. I like the Bolo better than this one for actually, batoning through wood. As you can tell, the Bolo's got more use. This one's been used too, though. It just wasn't my favorite. Not for that purpose. But this is a super heavy duty fighting Bowie knife. If you sharpen this wedge, this is a big heavy duty knife. This is 1095 HC. USA. That's what I got to say. I think it's like about $65. $65 back in the day. SB10 Raider Bowie. This is a super tough knife. A lot of soldiers carry these knives too. I wouldn't want to carry a knife like this. And if I was to carry, I definitely have to get a different sheath. I don't really like the OKC sheaths. I sort of could pass on them. As I did on this next one. This is the one that I like the most, and I've carried the most out of all these big knives from OKC. This is the one that I've actually carried the most. As a matter of fact, let's move these out the way. And let's get into these. These are the ones I actually like the best. The other ones I really like too. Don't get me wrong, but they're like knives that I can't carry because they're too heavy. They're just like way too heavy. This one's not too bad. This one's like 14 ounces. It weighs about as much as an extra large Espada. And you can see it's got a lot more blade. It's nice and thick. I'll tell you what the thickness is. This is the one that I would recommend out of the bunch. I know a lot of people may want the other ones. That's cool. But this is one that I would carry. About 6.5 millimeters thick. 6.5 millimeters thick. The blade length. Blade length is 10 inches, or 9 and about 7/8. 9 and 7/8. Overall length, 15 inches, right on the dot, 15 inches. The balancing on this one is right in front of the, right where the blade tang, right where the edge starts. That's where the balance point is on this knife. This knife feels great in hand. It feels like a big fighting knife. You know, I'm sure, you know, I don't know if you want to call this a machete or, you know, machete style or Bowie style machete or what have you, but it's kind of thick to be a machete. You know, 6.5 millimeters. It's fairly thick. It's full flat ground. But, you know, you could use this as a machete. This is an awesome knife. Awesome knife, people. And this is the one that I like the best out of all the old AKCs. SP5. SP5, Survival Bowie, Ontario, USA. This is the one I like. And I like it so much. You know, you can see it's been used. It's great for splitting wood, even though it's got the swedge like this. It's still great. It's still a great knife because it's so long. You can use back here, you know, and still do a fairly thick piece of wood. So it's still great. This is a sheet that I have made for it by Jeff the Sheep Maker on eBay. That's a sheet that I use with it. Works excellent. Kydex sheet. Excellent. This is an excellent knife to carry when you need to carry a big knife because it's not too heavy, people. It won't weigh you down. That's why I like to use this one. That's why I want to carry a big knife, but I don't want something too heavy. Because this one gets heavy. This one's heavier. This is the BK9. This is probably my most used knife. Got a piece of wood on it. Okay, let me wipe this one off real quick. And this is one of my most used big knives, as you can see. This one gets used to split wood for my fireplace all the time. This is the one that gets used the most, people. I can't tell false truth. This is the knife that I use the most. Why did I use this one the most? Because I trust it. I mean, it's like I could pound the crap out of this one, going through big giant knots and everything else. I'll never worry about it having any kind of issues. It's never had any kind of issues. I've never even resharpened the blade on this one. I just drop it. It's 1095 CV. You know, this is a K-bar knife. It's a Becker BK9. And I did customize it with custom grips. These are Micarta grips. And I did have Jeff the Sheep Maker make me a custom sheath for it. Custom Kydex sheet. So, you know, it started off as an inexpensive knife, but actually now it's fairly expensive with the sheath and the grips. But I absolutely love it. This is probably my most favorite big knife. If I'm gonna be stuck out in the middle of nowhere having to survive or whatever, this would be the one I'd want to pick. Out of all the ones I have, out of all the big knives I have, even though I really love this knife too, I've just got more faith in this one. And I think, you know, having faith in what your tools can do and knowing what they can do, I think is a very important thing. And as you all can see, this one's got a lot of faith in it. There's a lot of reasons why I could have faith in it. I need to clean it. I didn't clean it after the last time I used it, like I always tell you guys I do. But I just recently made a fire and I forgot to clean it. So this one needs to be clean. That's what it looks like before you get clean. Matter of fact, let's clean it real quick. Let's just do the oil clean real quick. So I can show you guys what the difference looks like with the oil clean. All right, so we're gonna turn lemons into lemonade. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take advantage of this knife being dirty. That's all you gotta do. Just rub it in really good. My Militech 1. That's what I always use, people. Militech 1 doesn't pay me any money or anything like that. It's just what I've always used since like the 90s. So I got lots of experience with Militech 1. I know it does a good job. Trying to get a little piece of sap off right there. That's all you gotta do. And then you just wipe it off. Let's see what it looks like. And be sure to do the edge too. I wipe the edge too. Because you always want to keep your edge clean. For the reasons I've told you in previous videos. And carbon steel loves to be oiled. Even when you got coatings on, it's still good to oil them all the time. See, there you go. That's what it looks like. I'll wipe this one down too. I haven't wiped this one down in a while. Carbon steel loves to be oiled, people. Nothing's wrong with oiling your carbon steel knives. And that's the proper way to maintain them, to keep them from rusting and rotting on you. And always remember to do the edge too. Doing the edge is just as important as doing the rest of the blade. Got some sap on the tip right there. Okay, see? I was telling you about the tips. Let's get the sap off that tip. Almost got it all the way out. Probably starting to cause a little bit of rust. That's probably what's happening. So one thing about carbon steel blades, people, you got to constantly maintain them. Keep your eyes on them. As long as you keep them dry and oiled, they last a long time. There we go. All right, people. Let's go ahead and set this one aside. And last but not least is my tops. I love this one. I love this one. This is differentially heat treated 1095 HC tops. And I removed the coating on it, the original coating that it had. And I was going to get it DLC coated, but I never did. And it's just stayed like this. I sort of like it like this. It's got the micarta handle scales on it. But this one's great for batoning through wood too because of the way it's made. See how thick that tip is? And Topps designed this one after the Russian combat knife. This is a beautiful knife, people. It's beautiful for combat, as a fighter. You know, because you don't have anything that's going to really come loose on this. You know, if the handle comes loose, you can just screw it on a little bit tighter. But there's really nothing to come loose on it. The guard is part of the blade. So this is super tough. This to me is like a really good survival knife. Because it'd be good for killing zombies. Because, you know, you can definitely tell it's going to stab, right? It's shaped like a dagger. This knife that they were given to the Russian Special Forces. Knife very similar to this. It's super thick. I think this is like 6.5 millimeters thick too. Let's measure it out real quick. .04. Let me zero in again just to make sure. Okay. 6.04. So it's 6 millimeters thick. And it feels awesome in hand. This is the Topps, USA made Topps. And what model is it? I don't know if you can still see the markings on it a little bit. That's the Wild Pig Hunter, people. It's the Wild Pig Hunter. And yes, just the sheath maker made me a sheath. And that's the sheath for that. But these are my favorite big blades I have in my collection that I've used. I've actually used for, you know, wood crafting and stuff like that. I have lots of other big blades, as many of you may know, but those have all been just collectors. These are the ones I've actually, you know, tried out and actually have used, and I can tell you that are very good knives. They can handle, you know, a beating, you know, pounding and survival type, you know, tactics and chores and things like that just fine without any issues. And I'd highly recommend the Topps. Topps makes a lot of heavy duty nice knives. It's not just this one. This is the one that I have. This is the Topps knife I have, and I absolutely love it. I think it's beautiful. And it's one of the ones I'd want in the apocalypse, people. It's one of the ones I'd want in the apocalypse. This is another one that I think is awesome. The Becker BK9. It's another one I would want in the apocalypse. Oh yeah. And this one right here is $50. It was $49 or something like that when I first bought it. I bought it brand new from Midway USA. I bought all my OKCs from Midway USA. All of them came from Midway USA, and they were all like from, I think maybe this might have been $47 or something like that, from $47 to like $65. And you know, like somewhere like in the 50s or something like that. But this was the least expensive one, and it's the one I like the most. This knife right here, I can't remember exactly what it cost. I know it was like in between $100 and $150 for the original BK9, and then I bought the handle scales, and they were like another $50, and the sheath was like another $60 or $70. So I'm well over $200 into this knife. This one right here was like $175 when I bought it, or $185. It was on sale at Midway. And I bought this one. Yes, Midway again, people. It was on sale at Midway USA. And I've been wanting one. I've been eyeballing these for a long time. And then when it finally went on sale, I pulled the trigger on it. But it was almost $200 already. So it was like, You know, it was up there. So this is like the most expensive knife for the initial cost. And then I got the sheath. It was another 60 bucks, I think it was, 60 bucks. So, you know, getting close to $300 in this one. And this one's over $200. And with the sheath, this one was like maybe $110. Because it's like under $50 for the knife, and the sheath was 60 bucks. Just the sheath maker sort of hooked me up on the sheath too, though. I think normally it'd be like a $75 sheath. It was like he charged me 60 bucks for it. Absolutely love it, people. And this is one of my favorites right here. If I actually want to carry something on my hip, if I'm going to carry something on my hip, out of all these, this is the lightest one. This is heavier, and this is really heavier. I take it back. This one might be lighter. Let's weigh them out. Let's weigh them out. You know, it's lighter because it's not as long. Maybe that's what it is. Let's weigh them out. We'll find out. 14.8 ounces. 14.8. 14.2. Okay. So for inch, this one is actually lighter than this one. Because this one is, as y'all can see, it's a lot shorter. And this one's 14.2 and this one's 14.8. But this one's a solid knife, though. It's like, you know, I think this is the one I want in the apocalypse, people. Why? Because there's nothing really to go wrong with it. I don't have to worry about a guard coming loose, and that's a real guard. It's not made out of rubber. You know, it's a real guard. And I like the fact that it's 1095 HC. Well, this one's 1095 HC also. 1095 HC, 1095 has been proven through, you know, many wars, you know, for the last 100 years. So it's a very proven steel. And I like the fact that the only thing that can come loose on this is the handle scales, and all what I have to do is just tighten them back down. And you can totally disassemble this knife to take it apart to clean it. That's what I did in order to polish it, to sand it down and polish it. Absolutely, this is a really nice knife. I really like this one. But if you only have 50 bucks, I think this is just as good. You know, actually, you know, as a fighter, this might be better because it feels like the balance on it might be a little bit better. This one right here feels like a camp knife. Even though it's called a combat bowie, I would rather have this one in a fight than the BK9. BK9 just feels like it's better than being a chopper and being a wood splitter and being setting up a campsite and doing heavy duty field chores than a fighting knife. This one feels like it could do the heavy duty wood chores. Well, I know it can do heavy duty wood chores, and it also feels like it could be a fighter too. This one could do both. If I was going to combat, I'd rather carry this one than the BK9. It's a lot lighter than the BK9. This would be my first pick, though. I like this one. I absolutely love this one. All right, people. That's it for these. Let's go ahead and put these up. Call it a day. It's good that I took this apart because I forgot to clean this one. Matter of fact, I'm going to strap the blade real quick. Get a quick stropping. Just make sure the edge is clean too. There we go. Nice clean edge. Ready to go. Ready for the next job. Absolutely love this BK9 though. This BK9 is a tool. To me, this is a real tool. This is a knife that you pick. This knife I would pick for, you know, if I'm picking a camp knife, I'm picking a BK9. All right, people. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Hope you guys have a great Easter. Hope you guys enjoy these little series of knives, you know, series of videos I did for Easter. Peace out. Peace.